Delighted to have your company, sir. If I may, just to set the stall, to give us a complete overview of some of the investment opportunities that come our way, that what Oman is aspiring to over the next half decade. Sir, take it away. Give us a flavor of what Oman's energy sector looks like at the moment.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for being here. Thank you for the nice introduction. It's really nice to be in India. It's nice to be in Goa. Fantastic place. It's also to be in this forum where we are hoping to make connections and collaborate. It's a fantastic opportunity, and the opportunity to talk about Oman is highly appreciated by the organizers. As you know, and many others maybe know, that Oman is an oil and gas exporting country, and its economy depends in large scale by that 70% of the GDP comes from oil and gas. Now it's our vision that was created by His Majesty. 2040 we will create an economy that is diverse. So there is to achieve that diversification, there are 5 programs. Each program is focused on one specific sector. The decarbonisation element, which is one of the key elements for that diversification, is built upon a royal decree that was established in 23, which grants the ministry the right to invest, not directly but through the private sector, 65,000 square kilometers of land in renewables and green hydrogen. So the landscape is in the making. A new landscape, a new future is in the making, based on that royal decree. So for the renewables, of course, our vision has been very clear from the beginning that we will increase the generation of renewables into the grid. So we are now in the process of doing that. We have multiple projects ongoing. We have established some projects. So Oman will close 2025 in total number 11% renewables in the grid. So that's total year if you get. So that's coming from 4% in year 2020. So you are talking about significant growth since the beginning of our journey, and that's consistent. We put a plan to be there 2030 for 30%, by 2040 70%. We are going to beat that by 1 year. So 2029 we will hit the 30% renewables. So that's on the renewables for the domestic grid. Now that grid, for it to be renewable ready, there's a huge investment in the connectivity. So it's a continuous upgrade, which the private sector can see as an opportunity to the grid, connecting the north and the south, which will be concluded next year as a project. Also, there is an expansion of the interconnectivity between Oman grid, power grid, with the GCC grid, which is under construction right now. I think we will celebrate next week the breaking the ground of the project. We are now able to send and receive power 1.6 gigawatt of power across the sector, which is something that's going to allow our partners in GCC or beyond to be served with these electrons across, and a lot of them will be green electrons. So the connectivity, and of course in the projects that we announced to reach 2030, we are starting to introduce energy storage through hydro and also through lithium batteries storage. So with storage and connectivity, we are sure that we are an investment in the grid within the country. We are sure we are going to reach that. Now the hydrogen story is one of the, I would say, aspirations that the country put. We have put 1 million ton of green hydrogen production. So today for India, I think this target is 5 billion. And it's really nice to see that we have partners to work with this, to see that India is also thinking the same way. So with that, we have already established Hydro, and these are years, Abdulaziz, to orchestrate that process in which the land will go through a proper governed process, which ensures transparency, also to give the investors the confidence and the assurance that the government is protecting their investment and putting all effort behind in the government side and basically domestically, we are ready for making these investments successful and fruitful. So with that, we have at least one project ongoing right now. We're expecting some FID soon, of course. A large portion of these projects are struggling today because if we demand for hydrogen, green hydrogen, from what we've seen, let's say 2 years ago, today have almost halved. So we know that realistically some projects will drop. So that's the reality, and we have to deal with it, and then we have to find ways to solve this problem. However, we do see interest. We see offtake, being more feasible, and also see progress. Hydrogen is also taking some projects in stimulating green hydrogen domestic demand, which is also helping plenty of these projects to support. Also, we have introduced many flexibilities, such as the ability to sell to domestic market electricity. That's also helping the green hydrogen projects. We have also introduced incentives for the projects at the beginning, including 90% reduction in the land fees. So there's plenty of work that's done on that side, from the government side, and we are pleased to see that at least some of the investors in the private sectors are taking that seriously and progressing well. So the overall, the overall work in terms of bringing new and diversify the source of energy is work in progress, and I would say we would like to see faster result and more. However, it's not as easy as we think as we want. On the oil and gas sector, oil continues to be the primary source for the government. So definitely we are continuing our exploration programs. We have almost signed. Every year we almost sign 1 or 2 concession agreements. So that means we are still an attractive destination for investments on the oil side. The same thing on the gas exploration and production side. In fact, our production has increased last year, both on the oil and gas side, as well as our consumption with industry, with more industry coming. Our production has been around the 1 million, north of 1 million sometimes. This is not as straightforward as we think.
Sure, of course.
How well it goes, so we cannot give you a number that people say once we're on their heart, this is a number. But it depends on the market. It depends on how much we offtake, how much we sell, how much we produce, on weather sometimes, maintenance, station maintenance rates, and so on. So on the gas side, we see more demand on LNG. So we are also reacting to that, and the government is looking at a couple of projects on that space. On the downstream, our processing capacity has increased. So actually now we are at 290 million barrels per day of capacity of processing, fully operational this year. We are very happy to see that Oman is not exporting only crude, but able to export processed products that comes to India, it comes and mainly Asia. India, of course, is a strategic partner, and that's not by talk, but it's actually by money and transaction. Of course, Oman also represents a great job market for the Indians. So it is, I would say, a strategic relationship that is working today on the ground. There's a lot of investment opportunities as well on the manufacturing, because a lot of these projects, when you talk about hydrogen project, if you just calculate the 1 million ton of green hydrogen production, you can and look at the 50 billion investments, that is not counting the infrastructure, which could count for another $10 billion. Anybody who is doing any math regarding how much electrolyzer requirements, PV panels, wind turbines, blades, logistics related to that, maintenance. Even if you take 10% of that market by having an advantage by establishing in the country, somebody smart and will come. And actually that's what's happening. We are seeing more interest for industry to come and set up home, because for them is a customer next door. It's much better than a customer that I have to see. So that's actually bringing a lot of work for us and for the private sector. So yesterday we saw the signing as well of the turbine project. So they are manufacturers who are coming to manufacture turbines in Oman, because not only the green hydrogen, there is also the renewable projects, which all bring turbines. So there is, even if you have uncertainty on hydrogen, you have certainty on the turbine. So for a business, what else do I need more than an already established market and a big promise? So I don't have, my risk is minimized and my potential is maximized. If somebody is smart enough, also it's very clear. The same thing when it's called to BV, which take me to something people don't talk about much, which is mining. So for you to do PVs, what do you need? You need silicon. You need high-grade pure silicon. You need a lot of copper. People don't know this, but Oman 2025, we started to export copper concentrate. We processed 1 million ton of copper as raw material, producing 40,000 metric ton of 34% copper concentrate. So that sector is also growing, and it's not just in Oman, actually, it's across the region.
Indeed.
So where would you find a stable country, sensible geopolitics, great location to export close to India, and if you want renewables, it's there. If you want PVs, there. If you want minerals, you're there. If you are not going to come and set up a shop there, I think you are missing on a lot.
Absolutely. If I may, you have very eloquently laid out your stall, not just in terms of traditional energy, but also in terms of hydrogen plays, in terms of the wider renewables dynamic in Oman, in terms of what you can bring to the region and to the world. Let's look at your 2040 vision, and in terms of the next sort of 15 odd years that lie ahead of us, what can Oman offer to, not just within the GCC, but what can Oman offer to the world in terms of collaborative partnerships and, of course, co-investment opportunities between various nations and yourself, sir?
I think we are at the beginning creating a new ecosystem. This is what I believe. I believe the map will have to depend on less. The world will realize sooner or later what I'm saying, because today, if you want to fly over, you don't have to think much. You go online and you book your ticket and fly. If you want to use the internet, you don't think about where that signal 01 goes. You just don't care. You want to get your business done. The same thing with many other sectors, aviation and so on. So the world is able to deal with certain common interests or infrastructure with ease. Today, I think energy we have to work together to create collaboration, and I like the way you describe it. Collaboration shouldn't be only on investment on the upstream of the business world. You extract resources, but also really, I would say, strategically mean deep. That I invest also on your infrastructure. We invest together. As I invest in India, you invest in Oman. There has to be that level. So collaboration at the level of investment, level of technology development, level of deploying infrastructure, level of standardizing and making it a playing field for investors to be able to invest easily, and that my product, if I invest in Oman, my product is accepted in India. When humanity reaches a point where it's trying to make that regulated in such a way that is smooth and people are able to focus, we will definitely benefit from the abundance of resources and energy in the world. The more silos and constraints we put, and the more, I would say, we build uncertainty in the system, the less investment. And I think today, I don't know if you, His Excellency Al-Jaber today mentioned, the problem is that actually I still believe today we have lack of investment. That lack of investment is driven by the lack of uncertainty and the lack of clarity from how would the ecosystem work for the investment. Today, the investment in one country is never an investment in that country only. It's an investment in that country, but it's related to who buys, how sustainable they are, will they be there? They will sign. A lot of people will put their ink on the paper, but will they be there when the time starts? That's a big question, and that's a question raises in volume as you produce uncertainty, as you destroy relations, as you not invest in the long term. I think is what I'm saying. If you are going to FID a hydrogen project, 47 years, you're gonna have to calculate 47 years. But otherwise, the bank will just not pay attention to you unless you create another ecosystem other than capitalism.
Sure.
So it's a fact. You cannot run away from it. You have to think that my investment has to somehow be protected, and you cannot protect it only on your side as government. You need your partners abroad, whether it's the EU, the US, or India, to be aligned with that protection. Otherwise, really, it's not fair for the private sector, and we need to have that in mind in our dialogue.
Absolutely. Members of the audience would be familiar with the phenomenal amount of investment you're making in Oman towards infrastructure, not just, people look at Muscat Airport, but more specifically in the ports infrastructure, all the work that's going on in Duqm. So I suppose there is a case here that with absence of a viable, good infrastructure to export or import your products, with being a two-way street, what good is a natural resource industry? So please offer a testimony to some of the developments that are going on. You have a very geostrategic location in the Middle East. People often call you the Switzerland of the Middle East. You get along with everyone and you do trade with everyone. So perhaps offer us a testimony to that, of the efforts on infrastructure, on how Oman is striving to be a reliable partner right at the center of the Arabian Peninsula, the tip of the Arabian Peninsula.
I think we from a port perspective, you have Port of Duqm, of course, but also have Port of Su'ad. You have also the Port of Salalah. They are very important ports, and they actually play a big role in industry and trade across the board. So that's Oman has always been in the trade business, but always managed ports. We always managed ports, and also these ports are partnerships with other ports across the globe. They are not just ports on their own. They are all. That's a testament of relationship. We are to the point where the port is actually a foreign investment. So that's one thing. The other thing, if you look at any investment in oil and gas, majority of it is foreign investments, and they've been there for years. Some of them they are more than 60 years. I know companies that they are in Oman 70 years. They never left, not a single year, and they are multiple. They are a big number of them. Why? What we offer is the reliability and the consistency and the flexibility that only when you experience it, you know what it is.
Sure.
And there are many companies, when they see opportunities left, not the current minister, but the previous one was telling me about one of the companies. They came and they to him and said, "Listen, we'd like to pull because our share is small. Just have for long years." And of course, he said, "We cannot force you. If you have to go, you have to go." And then 2 years down the line, they came back. "Can you allow us to come back?" I said, "Yes. You've learned your lesson, so you can come back." So it is very easy to see opportunities without looking at the long term. The long term is very important. We always see long term. What we offer is infrastructure, geopolitical stability. We offer a listening ear. We listen to what the private sector says. And the biggest testament is the hydro. We started with a model. We sat with the industry. We adjusted that. We also offer something that we are going to regulate the carbon market. So if companies sit in Oman, they will benefit from a carbon market that is stabilized. So we just got approval from the cabinet for a framework for carbon, which means companies who actually decarbonize will benefit. And there will be some sort of a number opposite the carbon. So when companies do actually, they will get the proper certification according to the United Nations, UNFCCC. And they will be able to trade that certificate. So there is a lot of work that is happening on the regulation side that protects your effort as a private sector when it comes to decarbonization. And our strategy is not to stop anybody from saying, okay, you don't do gas, or you do that, or you do this, but actually build a platform, give it in a way that is transparent and clear, and protected by the right regulation and governance.
You mentioned in your opening remarks, and of course, as our conversation progressed, about building a viable ecosystem. Each country has its own vision, its own spin, and its own molding of that ecosystem there. So tell us, if we are looking, say, 10, 15, 20 years into the future, how would this Omani domestic ecosystem energy ecosystem look like from your vision? Because you've mentioned a plethora of things: oil, natural gas, hydrogen, renewables, essential minerals. How does the Omani economy create its own unique ecosystem, for the benefit of its citizen and its own socioeconomic progress?
I think what we need to do is continue to strengthen our partnerships. This is one. And secondly, build the capabilities in country and the regulations that supports the growth of a green economy. Our Oman 2040 vision calls for building enough programs to reach a 5% growth year on year. And for us to be able to do that, we have to continue on the diversification effort. So what I see as years comes back is a strong infrastructure for green hydrogen, similar to what we have today with the pipeline of gas. This is what I envision. I envision another network of CO2 pipeline, because I believe that we could have an opportunity of methanation. I think the infrastructure on the downstream for export of petroleum products also have to be built and enforced, and also building a petrochemical. We're still have a mission to build further petrochemical industry in the country. I think that will bring high tech into the country in terms of supporting these activities. Will require a lot of manufacturing, assembly, maintenance, and with that, the government also will have to change the way they, educate, train, and how do they look at talent. I think that's also going to change. It has to change because all these changes will bring different skill sets that's required. And for that, I think we have to be ready. And to be ready, we have actually created under Hydro a unit is called our readiness unit. It's a readiness unit, and that readiness unit looks at each part of how do we get turbine up, how we generate hydrogen, what does it mean after that, where does it go? Does it go to storage? Is there another industry you are building here? All that ecosystem today is being looked at, and there are various initiatives we are building and taking to make sure that we are ready. So that has to be changed in terms of people, skills, and talent. But I see a lot of opportunities for multiple interconnected, industries that could also connect upstream and downstream petrochemicals with upstream and downstream petrochemical industry with hydrogen through many projects. For example, methanation, building low carbon fuel for bunkering from the ports, since we have ports that can offer bunkering. Today we have also LNG bunkering, Total in the north, in Port of Sahar also building that one. So we have plenty of projects that are ongoing. I think there is plenty of opportunities for projects to come in the future.
Sure. I'm conscious of time. It's such a fascinating conversation. We could go on forever. But before we let you go, in terms of the direction of travel, you have mentioned so many sectors, so many opportunities, so many areas of collaboration within the wider ecosystem that you're aspiring for. If briefly for the audience's benefit, what kind of foreign direct investment opportunities they can expect from you? Just a summary of what kind of foreign direct investment opportunities they can expect of you if they work with you over the next 10, 15 years as you find your 2040 vision.
I think there's a huge number, of course, on the green hydrogen. We estimated the first, for the 1 million ton, we said we're talking about 50 billion. So the benchmark, another 10 billion opportunity is on the infrastructure. That's our estimate, maybe more. On the renewable side, so you can do the correlation. We are now for 4 gigawatt. That kind of investment until that's to reach 2030. We need to build more of that to reach 2040. So that's another maybe 4 to 5 gigawatt worth of investment in terms of generation. We need grid expansion. Just to give you an example, the interconnectivity with the UAE is around, through the UAE is $700 million. And if we look at the other interconnections through the GCC interconnectivity, you are talking about total, that includes the one that we are doing now, $3 billion. So if I can go on and on, but that's on the electricity side. On the oil and gas side, of course, we will continue to put opportunities up for grab every year. On the mining side, there are 4+2 opportunities right now, again through concessions. Last year, total, we closed just year 24 contracts directly between the government and the investment on the mining sector in exploration. So the total commitment of $500 million just exploration. This is not processing. So you can actually have an idea of what we are doing. On the gas sector, we expect investment opportunities on at least one more train for LNG, and definitely there'll be a huge amount of investment with that. Comes naturally, pipelines, comes naturally, storage, bunkering, shipping. The beauty about energy and power is everybody benefits from the investment side until the business that benefit from the availability of the power and the cost competitiveness.
Sure.
Now the overall trend is that the market is competitive. We are seeing power prices go down. We are able to see green hydrogen at numbers we haven't seen before, which is fantastic. Investors have been, and we thank them, and with technology providers working very, very hard with hydro to lower that cost. We have given from the government side, a lot of incentive to that. We are actually more confident today. Let's say if we look at it towards the end of last year, we were not as confident as today, but today with the numbers, I think math will be the one saying the verdict at the end. It's not going to be politics.
Sure. Sir, thank you so much for your insight. Exciting times ahead for Oman and for Oman's partners. We really appreciate your time. Ladies and gentlemen, His Excellency Mr. Al Hadrami. A round of applause, please. Thank you. Sir, thank you so much. Absolute pleasure. Great talking to you.